Part 3: The Devourer Below. After a frantic nighttime search throughout Arkham, you have tracked down and questioned several members of the cult. Your findings are disturbing. They claim to worship a being known as Umordot, a monstrous entity from another realm. You are able to confirm much of Lita's story. The cult is agitated over the destruction of a ghoul lair. However, a surprising detail also turns up. The one who invaded the lair and set this night's events in motion was none other than Lita Chandler herself. You are not sure why this important detail was omitted from Lita's story. Did she tell you only as much as was necessary to draw you into her conflict? But in another light, she seems to be fighting to protect the city of Arkham from a terrible menace. The final piece of the puzzle was found written in a journal possessed by one of the cultists. It describes a dark ritual to be performed deep within the woods south of Arkham, this very night. According to the journal, the ritual's completion will open a gate and bring forth the cult's dark master into this world. If the cult is not stopped, Lita warns, there's a possibility that Umordot's vengeance will consume all in its path. Frightened, but determined to stop the ritual, you head into the woods. Welcome to another playthrough of Arkham Horror the card game. Today we are playing against the third and final scenario of the campaign, The Night of the Zealot, with the title The Devourer Below. We will first of all set up the scenario. For that we will look at the encounter deck, and it consists of the following encounter sets. We have the ghouls, we have the cultists, we have the scenario specific encounter card, Umordot's Wrath, 2 copies of it. Then we have Striking Fear encounter set. And finally we have Ancient Evils. We will then have to, or we are instructed to add one of those 4 encounter sets at random into the encounter deck. For that we will roll a die. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a 2, so we will add this encounter set on top of the encounter deck without looking at it. The remaining encounter sets will be removed from the game. Okay. Next we will bring out the locations. So each investigator starts at the main path. The main path has a shroud value of 2, comes into play with 0 clues, and has the following text. The main path is connected to each other woods location, and there's a resign action on it, which we will hopefully not use. So each investigator starts at the main path, and we are also instructed to bring out 4 out of the 6 Arkham Woods location at random. Again, we roll a die. The rolled numbers will be removed from the game. The top is 1, the bottom is a 6, and we have a 1, so this one is removed, and we have a 4, 2, 3, 4. So these locations will be put into play. Okay. Next we will have to add the following chaos token to the bag. And we are still playing on expert difficulty. We will have a look at the scenario card and the effect of the chaos markers with symbols. So the skull marker is a -3. If we fail, we have to search the encounter deck and discard pile for a monster enemy. The cultist marker is a -4 and place 2 doom on the nearest enemy. The tablet is a -5. If there's a monster at your location, take 1 damage, 1 horror. And the Ancient One symbol is a -7. And if we have an Ancient One enemy in play, reveal another token. Okay, so the Chaos deck is prepared. We will take our 5 starting resources. 2, 3, 4, 5. Roland starts the game with a horror on him, as we took a mental trauma. Next we look at the player deck and the modifications we have taken. So we had a total of 9 experience points from the first 2 scenarios, and we add a single copy of police badge for 2 experience points, 2 copies of Elder Sign amulet, each costing 3 points, and a single copy of knife. Cards without levels still cost 1 experience points to be added into our deck. So these 4 cards would be a total of 9 points. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Extra ammunition we had already purchased in the second scenario. And for the 4 new cards we will remove 2 copy of evidence and 2 copy of flashlight from our deck. And the remaining cards are unchanged. All cards from the core set. We have Roland's 38 special, his unique card. And we quickly go through the deck. Our basic weakness, the stubborn detective. And we have Lita Chandler also in the deck as a reward from resolution 1 of the first scenario. Okay, so what is left? We have prepared everything so far. We will now shuffle the decks, starting with the player deck. Let's draw our starting hand consisting of 5 cards, and we see the 38 special, which is already very nice. We have a chance to take a single mulligan for our starting hand. We will mulligan those 4 cards to draw 4 new cards. We are looking for Lita Chandler. So we have now 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, no Lita Chandler. The set aside cards we will shuffle back into our deck. Okay, before we start, we quickly read the story text on Agenda A1 and Act A1. The Arkham Woods. From interrogating members of the conspiracy within Arkham, you have learned that they are performing a rite of vengeance in response to the destruction of one of their master's lairs. You have entered the woods outside Arkham to try to stop them. The woods seem unnaturally cold and filled with a deathly silence. Investigating the trail. The evidence you have gathered has led you to the woods south of Arkham, where you believe a ritual to summon a being called Umordot is about to take place. Stealing your resolve, you set forth deeper into the woods, hoping to find the site of this ritual. So there are no additional game effects on those cards. the agenda card advances when there's 4 Doom in play, and we can advance in the act deck when we spend 3 clues. And we can now start with the first round, in which we, as usual, skip the Mythos phase and go straight into the investigation phase. And for our first action, we will play Roland's 38 Special. So this card costs 3 resources, takes up 1 hand slot, and comes into play with 4 ammo. We can spend an ammo to fight, and we get +1 for the attack, and +3 instead if there's a clue at our location, and the attack deals +1 damage. So we pay our 3 resources and place 4 ammo on the card. Okay, next we will move to this location for our second action, and we have revealed the Arkham Woods. So there's a forced effect. After you enter this location, test your willpower by 4. If you fail, take 1 damage, 1 horror, and the card has a shroud value of 4 and comes into play with 1 clue per investigator. We will now perform a willpower test. We could commit these cards, but we will keep them in our hands. Let's draw a chaos marker. We have drawn -6. Okay, so the test failed. We have to take a damage and the horror. And finally, in order to not get killed from a encounter card, we will play the Elder Sign Amulet, which costs 2 resources. It's one of the new purchased cards and gives us 4 sanity. So 1, 2 resources here. That will end our turn. There are no enemies in play, so we will go to the upkeep phase, ready all cards, draw a card, and gain a resource. In the Mythos phase, we place 1 Doom on the agenda and draw 1 encounter card. Okay, we have drawn Dissonant Voices. So this card comes in our threat area into play. And as long as this card is in play, we cannot play assets or events. At the end of the round, discard Dissonant Voices. Okay, not too bad. So we can use this turn then. So we cannot play any assets and events. We will, for our first action, draw a card. And we have drawn the machete. And for the remaining 2 actions, we'll just take 2 resources and end our turn. 1, 2. Okay, we go to the upkeep phase, ready all cards. We still have no enemies in play. Then we draw a card, gain a resource. At the end of the round, we are allowed to discard Dissonant Voices. We will place then a Doom onto the agenda and draw 1 encounter card. And we have the Wizard of the Order. So this is an enemy with fight value of 4, 2 hit points, an agility of 2, and has a spawn requirement, any empty location, and the retaliate keyword. At the end of the Mythos phase, place 1 Doom on the Wizard of the Order. So we will place him to the main path. Comes into play. Now at the end of the Mythos phase, we place 1 Doom on him. Okay. Right at the end of the so it's correct. Back to the investigation phase. We have 2, 4, 6 cards in hand. We could draw a card or drop down the Beat Corp. Don't know if we will ever defeat the Wizard of the Order. So we will, for our first action, draw a card. Okay, we have Dynamite Blast. This is an option to kill him. Now we have 7 cards in hand and 2 more actions left. And we will take 2 more resources with the remaining 2 actions and end our turn. 1, 2. So in the enemy phase nothing happens as the Wizard of the Order is not a hunter. So we can go to the upkeep phase, ready all cards, draw a card and gain a resource. Okay, so in the Mythos phase we place 1 Doom on the agenda. As we have 4 Doom, we place 1 Doom on the agenda and we have 4 in play, so the agenda advances. We remove all Doom from the game. And first of all, read the story text on the back. Death to the intruders. Throughout the woods, a shrieking cry echoes. From somewhere deeper in the forest, a score of hideous voices answer the call. Inhuman as the baying of hounds, and yet articulate, repeating a singular name, Umordot. And the story text tells us to shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck and discard cards from the top until we discard a monster enemy. That monster enemy spawns in the main path and we place 1 Doom on it. Okay, we will now discard cards until we discard the monster enemy. There we have one. We have a ghoul minion which spawns in the main path and we place 1 Doom on it. In the Mythos phase we draw 1 encounter card and we have drawn an Acolyte which will be placed. His spawn requirements are also any empty location. And when he enters play, we place 1 Doom on it. So we will just place him here. And at the end of the Mythos phase, we place 1 Doom of the Wizard. So we already have 3 Doom in play. Before we continue with the investigation phase, we will quickly read the story text on Agenda 2A. The ritual begins. The chanting builds in intensity, echoing into the cold air of the night. The sparse clouds in the sky coalesce above the Arkham woods, blotting out the faint light of the stars. And Agenda 2A has the following game effect. As long as the agenda is active, each enemy gets +1 fight and +1 evade, and the card advances when we have 5 Doom in play. Okay. So back to the investigation phase, we have 2, 4, 6, 8 cards in hand. For our first action, we will play emergency cash, giving us 3 resources. 1, 2, 3. Next, we will play the Beat Cop. The Beat Cop is an ally that costs 4 resources. And he takes up 1 ally slot. As long as the Beat Cop is in play, we get +1 to our combat value. In a player window, we can discard the Beat Cop to deal 1 damage to an enemy at our location. And we will place him next to us, spending 4 resources. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this was our second action. We played emergency cash first. Then we have 1 more action left. And with that, we will draw a card and end our turn. We have another Beat Cop. So nothing happens in the enemy phase. None of the enemies have the Hunter keyword. So we go to the upkeep phase, ready all cards, draw a card, and gain a resource. In the Mythos phase, we place one Doom on the agenda and draw one encounter card. Okay, we have drawn Frozen in Fear. So this card comes into our threat area in play and reads: the first time you perform one of the following actions, move, fight, or evade, it costs one additional action. And at the end of the round, we have to test our willpower against a difficulty of 3. If we succeed, we can discard Frozen in Fear. Okay, so let's see. If we find one more copy of Dynamite Blast, we have very good chances of defeating Umordot. But we have a very full deck also. Okay, so we have currently 4 Doom in play. That means next turn, unless we kill those 2 guys in the main path, we could also use 1 copy of Dynamite Blast, but the problem here is then we will have difficulties defeating Umordot. And 1, 2, 4, 5. Okay. We have Vicious Blow, we have a Beat Corp, a Knife, a Machete. We could also lose old cards or that. So for our first action, we will draw a card. Okay, Physical Training, that is good. For our second action, we will play Physical Training. So this card costs 2 resources and is an asset and allows us to spend the resource to increase our willpower or combat value. And we can do this any number of time. We will spend 2 resources for that. And finally, 6, 8. So as the agenda card advances, you have 3, you have to test 6. Eight. Drawing a card would lead to discard a card unless we commit guts to the skill test. We could now also kill those enemies in the main path with Dynamite Blast to save some more time. If we don't, so on the other hand, if we find the second copy of Dynamite Blast, we have good chances of defeating Umordot. If we only have 1 copy, we would need we stay with 1 copy. We need 2 successful attacks against Umordot. Right, 3, yes. We have a Vicious Blow. So we would have to find 1 more copy of Vicious Blow and 1 more copy of Dynamite Blast. Yeah, the wizard is a problem. He accelerates the agenda way too quick. It's kind of gambling, because if we don't kill the enemies now, we have a few turns to find. I feel like we have to kill them. Alternatively, we let the agenda advance and we will 8, 10 and 12 to pass this test. Or yeah, we just let it advance, so we would have 4 more turns next round. 3. I don't know. I mean, we have also dodge. So there's no guarantee of either drawing Vicious Blow or Dynamite Blast. So we'll keep the hand, let the agenda advance. Sorry for thinking that much. So instead we'll take a resource for our final action. And our turn, we have to test Frozen in Fear. And the question is, do we want to commit any cards? No, we don't. So we will just draw a Chaos marker from the bag. Okay, and we have drawn a -3, so the test failed and we are still frozen in fear. So in the enemy phase, nothing happens. We have no hunters in play. So we go to the upkeep phase, ready all cards, draw a card, wow, and gain a resource. So we would now have 9 cards in hand. So we have to discard 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and we will discard the knife. Or let's discard the machete. And in the Mythos phase, we place 1 Doom on the agenda. The agenda advances. The Will of Umordot. A dark presence approaches, and you are assaulted by invisible pressures that bring you to your knees. A terrible force threatens to invade your mind and soul. Your throat clenches and your eyes water as the sensation burns through you. And now the game effect, it says in player order, each investigator performs a willpower test with a difficulty of 6. Each investigator who fails must search the collection for a random basic madness weakness and add it to his or her hand. So we will now have to perform a willpower test with a difficulty of 6, and we will commit these 3 cards already for a total of +6 willpower, which brings us up to 9. We have a basic willpower or base willpower of 3. So this is then 2, 4, 6 plus 3 is 9. And it means we have an advantage of +3. +5 should be enough, so we will spend 2 more resources with physical training to increase our willpower by 2 more. So we would be at 11, testing against the difficulty of 6. And we have drawn a -2. So the test was successful. We do not have to draw a basic weakness, and we have committed guts to the test, so we are allowed to draw a card. So next we will draw a Mythos, an encounter card during the Mythos phase. And we have drawn Grasping Hands. Here we have to test our agility against a difficulty of 3. And for each point we fail by, we take a damage. We will commit no cards to the test. Let's just draw a Chaos marker. And we have drawn a -2, so the test fails by 3. And we take 3 damage, which we will place onto Roland. Finally, at the end of the Mythos phase, we place 1 Doom on the Wizard. And we will now read the story text on agenda A3. Vengeance awaits. The world begins to shift and change as the ritual nears its conclusion. The air grows chilly and the entire forest is covered in a layer of rime. The trees bend unnaturally and their shadows lengthen into weird shapes. Okay, now we have 2 forced effects on it. So when the agenda advances, let's give a look at it. When the agenda advances and if the investigators are at Act 1, put the set-aside ritual site into play and spawn the set-aside Mordor there. So we'll most likely be at Act 1, so we skip the rest of the text. We will not advance in the act. And we have performed the effect of the second agenda card. We drew an encounter card. Right, it's back to the investigation phase. And for our first action, we will, I would say, we will draw a card. And we have drawn a guard dog. 2, 4, 6, 7. Then let's just draw 1 more card for a second action, another dodge, and for the third action we will take a resource and end our turn. At the end of our turn we have to test Frozen in Fear. This time we will commit let's commit First Aid and Dodge for +2 to our willpower and spend 1 resource with physical training to cover the skull token. So we have a willpower of 6, testing against a difficulty of 3. Okay, in this case we have drawn the tablet, which is a -5, so the test failed. And if there's a monster enemy at your location, which we don't have, take a damage and a horror, so you can skip that. Unfortunately the test failed, so back to the upkeep phase. We ready all cards, draw a card and gain a resource. In the Mythos phase we place 1 Doom on the agenda and draw 1 encounter card. Okay, we have drawn Mysterious Chanting. So this card revelation effect reads, place 2 Doom on the nearest cultist enemy. In this case the nearest would be the Wizard. Okay. And at the end of the Mythos phase we place 1 more Doom on him. So next round the agenda card would already advance, unless we go and kill him. I don't know if we want to do that. We could also wait for Umordot. At this point we have Dynamite Blast. If we have 1 more copy that would be great. And if we kill him, I would say we let Umordot spawn and try to defeat him with the cards that we have. So for our first action, we will draw a card. We have 2, 4, 6. Yeah, let's draw a card for our first action. Okay, we have emergency cash. For our second action, we will play emergency cash to gain 3 resources. 1, 2, 3. And then we will draw another card for our final action. Or maybe, yeah, we can do that. We have unexpected courage. Okay, at the end of the round, we have to test again for frozen and fear. This time we will commit guts to the test and we will spend a resource. Again, just to cover the skull token, we don't want any enemies to spawn. Hopefully we succeed. We have an advantage of +3. And we have drawn, oh, our Elder Sign. We get even +1. So the test succeeded. We get rid of Frozen Fear. And as we committed Guts to the skill test, we are allowed to draw a card. And we have drawn extra ammunition. Okay. So the lights are coming up in the woods of Arkham after drawing the Elder Sign. Wonderful. So we will then move to the enemy phase. Nothing happens here, so go straight to the upkeep phase. Radio cards, draw a card, and gain a resource. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 cards in hand. So you'll have to discard one of them. And in this case, we will discard extra ammunition. I don't think we will play this card anymore. Right. In the Mythos phase, the agenda card advances now. We place 1 Doom on the agenda. Remove all Doom in play. Sometimes I'm not sure if I use the correct words. Anyways, so the agenda card advances and we look at the back of it. So also we have to use the forced effect on the card. It says when this agenda advances, if we are in Act 1, which we are, put the set aside ritual site into play and spawn the set aside Umordot there. So first of all, we bring out the set aside ritual site. So this card has a shroud value of 3, comes into play with 2 clues per investigator, and at the end of the round, if there are fewer than 2 clues per investigator on the ritual side, add to it until there's 2 clues per investigator. Okay, this location is connected with the main path, which is down here, covered by the 2 enemies. And it comes into play with 2 clues on it. So then we are supposed to spawn Umordot. So the cultists were successful with their cast. So they cast Umordot successfully. It's our final enemy, who has a fight value of 5, 6 hit points, and gets +4 health per investigator. So he has 10, and an evade value of 6. He has the keywords Hunter and Massive, and the following forced effect. At the end of each investigator's turn, ready Umordot, and the following action: if you control Lita Chandler, it's only after her you throw Lita to Umordot in order to spare your lives. And if he attacks, he deals 3 damage and 3 horror. So we'll place him to the ritual side as instructed. And the back of the card is the Devourer below, and the revelation effect reads: replace the current act and agenda with the Devourer below. This card is both the current act and the current agenda. And the objective is, if Umordot is defeated, you have resolution 2. So this card replaces the act and the agenda deck. And we'll place it here next to the ritual side. And here's our scenario card. Okay, so we placed the Doom, the agenda advanced. We now draw an encounter card during the Mythos phase, and we again have drawn Grasping Hands. Here we will commit no cards one more time. We most likely take 3 damage again. So we will draw one Chaos marker. And we have drawn a -6. So we take another 3 damage, which we will place onto Roland. So back to the investigation phase. Let's check our hand size. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8 cards in hand. And we would have to discard a card at this point. We may just draw weakness cards, which we want to avoid. So I would say we could draw a card, but then we have to discard the knife or the guard dog. And we should maybe just take 3 resources and our turn. Because Lita Chandler is useless at this point, and we have few weakness cards in our deck. We have played both emergency caches. Yeah, I would say, I mean, we are looking for another copy of Vicious Blow or for Dynamite Blast, but we have very small odds drawing them. We could also just take 3 resources and our turn, and that's what we will do. Take 3 resources. At this point we will need 1, 2, 3. In the enemy phase this time, Omodot is a hunter, so he will move 1 step into our direction. So he will first of all move into the main path, and I forgot to add 1 Doom to the Wizard of the Order at the end of the Mythos phase. And then we will go to the upkeep phase, ready all cards, draw a card, and gain a resource. In the Mythos phase we place 1 Doom on the agenda and draw 1 encounter card. And we have drawn Ancient Evils, which places 1 more Doom on the agenda. And at the end of the Mythos phase we place 1 Doom on the Wizard. And we will now continue 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So we have to discard a card last turn, and in this case we would have discarded the knife. Back to the investigation phase. For our first action this time we will draw a card. Let's see what we draw. Okay, we have a knife. For a second action we will play the Dynamite Blast. So Dynamite Blast is an event that costs 5 resources, and the card reads: choose either your location or a connecting location. And in this case the main path is connected to the Arkham Woods, and we are choosing the main path. Deal 3 damage to each enemy and to each investigate at the chosen location. So we will spend 5 resources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to deal 3 damage to each enemy at the main path. This will kill the ghoul minion and the Wizard of the Order, and also deals 3 damage to Omodot. So 7 left. And finally we have 2, 4, 6, 8 cards in hand. We drew a card, we played a card. Okay, that's why. Finally we'll just take a resource and end our turn. So in the enemy phase, Umordot is now moving to our location. He is a hunter, so he is engaged with us in combat and he will attack us. Enemies with the massive keyword do not exhaust, so he will deal 3 damage, 3 horror, but we will prevent his attack by playing dodge. So we pay 1 resource to play the event. We can cancel an enemy's attack. So this turn we saved us. Then we move to the upkeep phase, ready all cards, draw a card. Okay, we drew cover up, so we can ignore this card at this point, as this is the final scenario. It doesn't matter if we take another mental trauma, and we will gain a resource. In the Mythos phase, we place 1 Doom on the agenda and draw 1 encounter card. Okay, nice. So we have drawn Offer of Power. The revelation effect reads, you must either choose 1, draw 2 cards and place 2 Doom on the current agenda. This effect can cause the current agenda to advance, or take 2 horror. As the agenda card cannot advance anymore, we will choose option 1. We'll place 2 Doom on it and draw 2 cards. Very nice. Okay. And we continue with the investigation phase, where we will attack Umordot using Roland's 38 special, spending 1 ammo. This time our attack is increased by +3, as we are on a location with a clue on it. We have the Beat Cop in play, who also gives us +1 to our combat value. And we will, so we have right now a fight value of 8. And we would need 13 to be 100% successful. I think we can do that by ten, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. So we will add these 4 cards to the skill test to increase our combat value by 4 more. And if we are successful with Vicious Blow, we deal +1 damage. So in total, we are at 4, 5, 8 plus 4 is 12. And yeah, we need 1 more to have an advantage of +6, +8. 12. If we go with 13, or we keep 1 guard dog and replace it by overpower. So this way we have a total of 2, 5, 10, 13 against 5, which means we have an advantage of +8. So we should be covered by all other than the autofill token and the ancient one. Let's see what we have drawn. And we have drawn a -6. Okay, the attack was successful, perfect. We committed overpower, so we are allowed to draw a card. Nice. And we added Vicious Blow, so we deal +1 damage, a total of 3 damage as we used the 38. So 3 more damage on Umordot, wonderful. And we drew Vicious Blow in the perfect timing, so we need 1 more successful attack to win the game. I'm very positive we can do this. So we will then attack 1 more time with the 38 special, spending 1 ammo. We will now commit the second copy of Vicious Blow and this is these 3 cards, so +3 from these cards, which brings us to 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, and we spend 2 more resources with physical training to add +2. So again, we would be at 13. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, +4 is 10, +3 is 13, against 5 is an advantage of +8, and if the attack is successful, we deal another 3 damage. We lose to the autofield token and to the Elder Sign. Let's see, and we have drawn, let's take this one. We have drawn a -3, wonderful. So we deal another 3 damage, and Umordot has a single life left. And we will now just discard the Beat Cop, use the player action on him to deal 1 damage to an enemy at our location for the final damage onto Umordot. So it reads discard Beat Cop, deal 1 damage to an enemy at your location. So we discard him and we place the final damage on Umordot, and we would meet the objective, win the game, and save the world. Yeah, thank you for staying tuned to the campaign. I hope you guys enjoyed the playthrough. So basically, if you want to defeat Umordot, and we did it on expert, obviously, you need a little bit of luck. But if you build the same deck that I did on any difficulty, the goal here, or the strategy, is to not care about the act deck. You just let the agenda deck advance and make sure you don't die. Ideally, you have the 38 special out and be on a location with a clue on it to constantly get +3 to your attack value with the 38 special. And it would have been even easier if we had a second copy of Dynamite Blast in hand. So what we would have done is, when Umordot spawns here and moves to the main path, in the turn where he moves to the main path, we will use 2 copies of Dynamite Blast from this location or any of the Arkham Woods location to deal him 6 damage prior he engages us. So he would have already 6 damage. Then he would move towards us. We can use 1 copy of dodge to evade his attack, and all you need is a successful attack. Hopefully you have a vicious blow in hand to deal 3 damage, and then you can discard the Beat Cop and win the game. We unfortunately missed the Dynamite Blast, but we were very lucky drawing Vicious Blow after committing Overpower to the skill test. And let's see where our second copy of Dynamite Blast would have been. Oh, it's right on the top. So we would have needed 1 more turn to use the full strategy. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Resolution 2. Through force of arms and strength of will, you are somehow able to harm Umordot enough to send it reeling back to the dimension from which it emerged. Warmth and light return to the woods as the void-like mass is sucked in upon itself, vanishing in an instant. You aren't sure if a being such as this can be killed, but for the time being, it seems to have retreated. As their master vanishes, the ghouls nearby climb into the open pit below, fleeing with terrible cries and shrieks. You have stopped an evil plot, but the fight has taken its toll on your body and mind. Worse, you can't help but feel insignificant in the face of the world's mysteries. What other terror exists in the deep, dark corner of reality?